Welcome to Wellywood Wargaming, where the grim dark never sleeps. Crack open a bottle of wild snake and spark up a low stick as we take a journey down Underhive.
Oh, Peregrine Took. Today you will make use of yourself by learning how to play the Middle-earth strategy battle game, and you will not, under any circumstances, set fire to the dice again.
But that was just once, and it was mostly an accident.
An accident which destroyed Theoden's left leg and 3 muffins. Sit down. mesbg is a tabletop wargame where 2 forces clash upon a battlefield. Men, elves, dwarves, orcs, goblins, all fighting for glory, honor, and perhaps a second breakfast.
Do I get points if I eat the enemy's food?
No, Peregrine, you lose points and possibly friends. Each turn has 5 phases. We begin with...
Is one of them 11sies?
No, Peregrine, no, it is not. The turn goes as follows. The priority phase, the movement phase, the shoot phase, the fight phase, and the end phase.
Wait, what if I want to go second, like a trick?
This is not a riddle contest at the Green Dragon, Pippin. Win the roll, you go first. Fool of a took. In the movement phase, the player with priority moves their models first. Each model may move up to its movement value in inches. Most men move 6 inches, dwarves 5, elves 6, hobbits rather slowly.
How far can I move if I'm really excited?
Still 4 inches, Peregrine. Excitement does not override anatomy. Every model has a control zone, a radius around them that they are defending. This extends 1 inch around from their base. No enemy model can enter this area unless they are charging the model. Control zones can be used to block enemy models moving into certain places or preventing attacks on other friendly models if you are clever. You can move up to the number of inches on your M value. You may not move through enemy models. You may not finish movement in base-to-base contact unless charging. And you can climb or jump obstacles. Test if it's over ½ an inch tall.
What if I jump from here onto the tree?
Then the tree will very kindly swat you like a fly and rid us of your stupidity. To enter base contact with an enemy and engage them in combat, you must declare a charge. To charge, a model may move up to its maximum movement value, and must make base-to-base contact with the enemy model, and must have line of sight on the enemy at the start of its move. A model must stop as soon as it makes base-to-base contact. Once a model has made its charge, its activation immediately ends as it prepares to fight.
What happens to the enemy's control zone?
Once base-to-base contact has been made, they immediately use it. They are too preoccupied. An astute commander would realize that this means the order in which models charge can be used to clear a path through enemy control zones. If charging a terror-causing model, pass a courage test first. Roll 2d6 and compare the result to their courage statistic. If the result is equal to or higher than their courage, the test is passed, and they muster the courage. If they fail, they are paralyzed by fear and cannot move.
Does he cause terror?
Yes.
I don't want to play anymore.
Fool of a took. Shooting occurs after movement. A model can shoot if it hasn't committed to a charge, except maybe for a certain elf, remained stationary or moved less than half of its movement value. Choose a target within range and line of sight. Roll to hit using the model's shoot value, with a -1 modifier if they moved. Make any in-the-way tests. In-the-way tests are made if obstacles, defenses, or even other models are in the way of the target. After the roll to hit is made, roll a d6, and on a 4+, the test is passed, and the arrow continues on its way. Make an in-the-way test for as many obstacles as necessary. If it's a model in the way, forces of good may never shoot if there is a risk of hitting a friendly model. The forces of evil, however, do not care for friendship, and as such, if they fail their in-the-way test, they may kill an ally, as the roll to wound will be against them and not the intended target. If you hit, roll to wound based on the strength versus the defense of the target. If successful, a wound is dealt. Compare the number of wounds dealt to the number of wounds a model has. If the model's wounds dealt is enough to reduce the enemy to 0, they are defeated and removed as a casualty. The opponent then makes a fate roll if they have it.
I'm aiming for his eye. I saw Legolas do it.
You are not Legolas, Pippin. You couldn't hit a mummock if it sat on your foot. When models are engaged in combat, they fight during the fight phase. Fights must first be paired off. The player with priority pairs the combats and chooses the order of combat.
Pairs?
All models must be assigned a combat, and cannot fight in more than one. A model which is base-to-base with one enemy is simple. It's a 1v1. But several models in base-to-base must be broken into individual combats, which allow every model to make a fight. This could mean you could have 1 versus 2, or perhaps 1 versus 3, or more if surrounded.
What if a model has a spear or something, and can poke from further away?
If a model with a spear is in base-to-base with a friendly model of the same base size, and not in base-to-base with an enemy, yes, it may aid its friend. They add a single dice to the duel roll. Once models have been paired off, combats must be resolved. First, make a duel roll. Both players roll a d6, equal to the number of attacks according to their model's attack characteristic, for each model they have in the combat. The player with the highest result on a single d6 wins.
What if it's a draw?
If the result is the same, compare the model's fight value. The highest fight value wins. And if it's still a draw, roll a d6. On a 1 to 3, the more evil player wins, and on a 4+, the more good aligned player wins. The losing model must back away from the winner 1 full inch in a straight line. It may move through enemy control zones, but not finish base-to-base with any enemies. If they cannot move back 1 inch for any reason, they become trapped. If they are trapped because of a friendly model, the friend may make a special make-way move, moving up to 1 inch, allowing room for the losing model. A model cannot make way if it is engaged in combat or unable to move for any other reason, and only a single model can make way for an ally. The winner then makes strikes, attempting to inflict wounds. Make a strike roll for each attack a model made. Spears in support may make a single attack as well. To see if a strike roll wounds, compare the strength of the attack to the defense of the target. Much the same as wounding and shooting. If the model is trapped, double the number of strikes being made. Deal enough wounds and the target is removed as a casualty.
I'd like to fight that.
I'd like to see you try.
So, if I shout heroically when I charge, do I get a bonus?
Only if you spent a might point. Heroic actions are powerful special moves that can turn the tide of battle. Use them wisely, Peregrine. There are many available, but the universal ones are heroic move, heroic shoot, heroic combat. More specialized heroic actions are described on the model's profile. To declare an heroic action, you spend 1 point of might. If both players declare 1, roll off to see who goes first.
So, can I do a heroic snack?
If you touch that cheese wheel again, I will turn you into a frog. Might points can also be used to modify a dice roll. For example, improving a duel by 1 to win a duel, or improving a fate roll to prevent a devastating blow. Will points may also be used to improve a courage test or cast or resist a magic spell. Fate points may be used to prevent a wound from being received. For every fate point spent, roll a d6. On the 4+, the wound is ignored. Models may use magical powers if capable of doing so. They may spend will points when they activate to move. They may attempt to cast before, during, or after they move. Models may only ever cast 1 spell per activation. Magic is rare and dangerous. To cast a spell, spend 1 will point and make a casting test. Roll a d6 and compare the result to the casting value on the model's profile. If you match or beat the casting value, it succeeds.
What if I just shout magic and throw the model?
Then I will shout idiot and throw you. Each spell has a casting value. Opponents can resist by spending will and rolling dice. Wizards can burn through will quickly. Manage it carefully. I, for instance, can cast Immobilize, Command, Sorcerous Blast, and Terrifying Aura, among others. You can barely cast a shadow, Peregrine. When your force has lost half or more of its models, you must take courage tests at the start of each turn to see if your warriors flee the field of battle. Make a courage test each time a model first activates. Roll 2d6 and compare the result of their courage statistic. If the result is equal or higher than their courage, the test is passed, and they muster the courage to remain on the battlefield. If they fail, they flee from the battlefield.
So if I shout encouragement, does that help?
No, you shouting anything usually makes things far worse. At the end of each turn, resolve lingering effects. If the game is near its end, you may need to roll to see if it continues. Some scenarios may have fixed turns, and others may end once an army is broken or quartered.
Do we get dessert now?
We get victory points. You get nothing. So, that is the Middle-earth strategy battle game. With these rules, you will wage war from the Shire to Mordor, and hopefully do so with fewer incidents this time.
I think I finally get it now. So, if I use might to do a heroic charge into combat and then cast a pie at the enemy.
Fool of a took!